Discourse 5 Bible. The unknown years of Jesus' life. Sojourn to India. Sojourn in India. Bharat, that is India, is a remarked. Bharat, India is remarked by its spiritual solace. So any spiritual seeker a journey down to Bharat. Jesus knew this. He set out for Bharat to prepare himself for the fulfillment of his life because it is remarkable in spirituality which is above religion from time immemorial. New Testament, the curtain of silence comes down again on the life of Jesus after his 12th year, not to rise once more until 18 years later, not to rise once more until 18 years later, at which time he receives baptism from John and begins preaching to the multitude. Paramhansa Sri Yogananda. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. Luke 2:52. He is an extraordinary figure but could not be recognized by normal folk up to 13 years of his early life. In the land far off in the east, Bharat, several incidents occurred. Jesus spent most of the unaccounted years in Bharat, the land of spirituality. In Tibetan monastery, several valuable records were a standing testimony to this. Jesus is called Saint Issa in Israel records. He dwelt from 14th to 28 years in Bharat. He travelled and lived amongst other saints, monks, and pandits in the regions of Himalayas. Jesus preached a message of love in that area and as well as in his native land. He was condemned and put to death. In the ancient manuscripts, it was documented. God's grace, these records were discovered and copied by Nicholas Notovich, a Russian traveler, in 1887. In his travels in Kashmir, the Russian traveler has come to the conclusion that Saint Issa and Jesus are one and the same. He learned that copies of ancient manuscripts preserved in some of the Tibetan manuscripts mentioned a record of Issa's years of sojourn in India. Outside of Leh, one Himis monastery possessed a copy of the sacred books that mentioned about Issa. With the help of an interpreter, he meticulously copied the contents of the pages pertinent to Jesus as they were read to him by the head Lama. But this was not shared and encouraged by the complacent Western Christian orthodoxy. He published The Unknown Life of Jesus in 1894 on his own. Critics, America and Europe did not agree with his contention, but was attested by two other reputable persons. But was attested by two other reputable persons. Swami Abhedananda, Direct Principal Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Direct Principal of Ramakrishna Paramahansa visited Himis monastery in 1922 and confirmed Notovit's book. Notovit's book was written by him in French and then into English. He has gathered information from hearsays of various linguistic and religious people and then translated into Pali. It was again translated into their respective languages. The translation or translations from different languages will bound to have variance and percentage of perfection. There are two ways of knowing an avatar. First, to glimpse his essence that shines through a melange of fact. Second, to have direct knowledge of Great One through intuitive divine communion with that soul. Many through the centuries have known Jesus Christ in flesh and blood. Example, Saint Francis of Assisi, Saint Teresa of Avila, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa and Paramahansa Sri Yogananda. Sun rises in the east and travels to the west. Christ rose in the east and then traveled to west. It is no happenstance that Jesus chose to be born an Oriental East Christ in Palestine, which is linking east and west. He traveled to India to honor his ties with rishis of Bharat. He radiated the spiritual power of the Orient to the west. He wanted to unite the God-loving people of east and west. Christ was misinterpreted in as much as the elementary principles of his teachings have been desecrated and their esoteric depths have been forgotten. People have been burned as witches and heretics. We must salvage his immortal teachings and understand him as a supreme yogi. He has been westernized too much. Jesus was an Oriental by birth, blood, and training. To understand Jesus Christ, and his teachings, one must open to Oriental point of view, the ancient and present civilization, the religious scriptures, traditions, Vedanta philosophy, spiritual beliefs, and intuitive metaphysical experience of Bharat. The Gospels can be understood with reference to soul-saving wisdom of rishis of Bharat. The caste-ridden, stone-worshipping, distorted interpretations of pseudo-scholars are to be discarded. They must be understood in the context of Vedas, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. This essence of truth, the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal principles of righteousness that uphold the man and the universe, was given to the world many a thousands of years before the dawn of Christian era. They are preserved in Bharat. The quest for God is be all and end all life and not an armchair diversion. The Occidental Christianity in the outer crust, hard shell. Oriental Christianity is the inner crust. Oriental always emphasized, take no heed for the body, what ye shall eat, what ye shall wear. Bread the men of the world seek after. Bread, the men of the world seek after. Seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. Occidental Christianity instead proposes, take heed of the body first, that in healthy body temple ye may find God. Bread, ye, men of the world, seek first, and afterward seek ye the kingdom of God. Oriental, that is East philosophy, emphasizes God first and the other things last. Occidental, that is Western philosophy, emphasizes the other things first and God last. Oriental Christianity considers esoteric practices like church going, sermonizing, and theological study of scriptures for general public. Oriental Christianity considers exoteric practices like church going, sermonizing, and theological study of scriptures. Theological study of scriptures for general public. From here one can climb the esoteric ladder. The Eastern philosophy emphasizes meditation for knowing God personality. The Eastern philosophy emphasizes meditation for knowing God personally. On the contrary, the Occidental Christianity does not emphasize this. It gives importance to personal hygiene, food, and education, etc. In order to understand Jesus Christ's doctrine, we have to combine organizational efficiency and social welfare, philanthropy, and meditation. Then the God contact can be realized. The West has concentrated on perfecting the physical conditions, and the East on spirituality. The West has concentrated on perfecting the physical conditions and the East on spirituality. One is theoretical and the other is practical oriented. This leads to internal and external wars. So, idealism is tempered with practicality. The East and West should practice give and take policy. East needs material development and West needs spiritual balance. God is one. Ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. This is what the Upanishad says. We are all the children of God, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, color, race, and nationality. We are made in His image. We are made in His image. This is the message of Jesus Christ. This is the message of Jesus Christ. Do not identify yourself with religious bigotry. Become identified with universal love. It is expressed in service to all. End of the discourse.